all the Aam Aadmi Party leaders, you are forgetting, you're talking about one right now, that there are so many others who are in jail for such a long period of time. I'm sure they've gone to court many number of times. The Express report कोई sanctity रखता है क्या?
No, we've compiled.
नहीं, आपकी रिपोर्ट होने से को उसको की credibility बढ़ने जाती है.
नहीं sir, but वो तो
No, that is our job. If there is a fake news, it is the government's job to take it down. First and foremost, I've been toying for several years now with an idea of how we can make the country slum. We have not put him in jail, madam. We don't have anything to do with it. Where is our role in that? The law is catching up with people for the wrongs that they have done. They should have thought about it when they were doing those actions. And I think we have a robust judiciary, we have a robust system in India which protects everybody's rights. All the Aam Aadmi Party leaders, you are forgetting, you're talking about one right now, that there are so many others who are in jail for such a long period of time. I'm sure they've gone to court many number of times. So, by your logic, everybody in this country is...
No, the issue is that the opposition is trying to create a perception among people.
They are most welcome to. आज के दिन आदमी उससे कुछ बहकावे में नहीं आते. मैं भी जा रहा हूँ I also go campaigning. I don't think anybody is falling prey to any of these opposition comments. People are very happy that Mr. Modi is being strict. He's taking action against the wrongdoers. And finally, justice will be meted out. Bear in mind, common man, middle class, they don't like it if a prime minister stands up and says that I'm helpless and corruption is a part of life. And the Rajiv Gandhi famous story, 100 rupees, 85 rupees, my middlemen and dalals and corrupt people in my party will blow it off, you'll get only 15 rupees. That's a helplessness. They like a leader who solves problems. It was an effort to clean politics of dirty money, black money. It was an effort to bring anonymity to protect those who want to fund good politics in the country. And Mr. Arun Jaitley at length had explained it when he introduced the law, that it was coming out of our experience of being in the opposition party. When we were in the opposition, we found that most people were worried to give us money because of the fear that whether the ruling party could create any problem for them. From our experience of opposition, we thought we should bring in a system which will bring everybody a level playing field and anonymity. So if somebody donates to an opposition, they don't face a problem. And you can see the numbers. Today the BJP runs 16, 18 governments in the country. We have the central government. We have more than 55% of the members of parliament. We have more MPs, more than half of the MLAs in the whole country. But we still got less than half the donation. Finally, other parties also started getting. But in the good old days, opposition always had a stress to be able to raise funds. So I think those who are criticizing the Congress, they should not have accepted those electoral bonds if they were on a matter of principle. All the indie bloc or whatever is left of it, they should have refused to accept electoral bonds at that point of time. The 600 lawyers who have just now written to the courts have also raised the same issue, that God forbid tomorrow the judges may not become vulnerable to such narratives.
So, but do you think that the government, is it required for the government to dictate the terms?
We are not dictating any terms. What is the fact-checking unit got to do with dictating
In
terms?
terms of asking intermediaries to taking it down, taking
No, that is our job. If there is a fake news, it is the government's job to take it down. I'm sure the legal luminaries must be addressing that issue. I don't know what's possible, what's not possible. But I'm just raising that issue since Shubhangi asked me in the beginning itself, that this is going to become increasingly the order of the day. And I do think that all of you all also should consider how you will not fall prey to every free trade agreement negotiation stands on its own legs. The Modi government goes about free trade agreement negotiations very cautiously with great deal of stakeholder consultations, negotiates very hard from a position of strength. The world today knows that when you negotiate with India, you are negotiating with a $35 trillion economy, not a $3.5 trillion economy. Because a free trade agreement has to crystal gaze into the future and see what is good for the country over the next 20, 30, 50 years. These are long sustaining agreements. So we look for fair, equitable and balanced agreements. And unless we get that on our terms, we don't rush into closing any FTA negotiation. It could even be as simple thing as one item, which may hold back the negotiation for several months. But we are okay with it. The country's farmers have to be protected. Country's fishermen have to be protected. Country's MSME has to be protected. Domestic manufacturing has to have a level playing field. There has to be transparency, both sides, in how countries operate. We have to ensure that we do not allow people to come in from unfriendly countries through the back door. So many significant issues have to be balanced in a larger perspective. And therefore, we never rush into an FTA. The express report कोई कोई sanctity रखता है
No,
क्या?
we've compiled.
नहीं आपकी रिपोर्ट होने से को उसको भी credibility बढ़ने जाती है.
Yes, sir, but वो तो on the basis of the cases we have done it. We've not done it independently. So
ठीक है
95%.
आपकी एनालिसिस होगी वैसी हमारी एनालिसिस जरूरी नहीं है वैसी होगी.
So 95% of the cases are against opposition after the. So this perception.
That may be your assessment. I'm not privy to any such facts or figures.
No, but do you think a perception? It may be like you're saying.
Again, as I said, perception पे हम थोड़ी decision लेते हैं. Your perception will not define how government will function,
But
or how even the investigative agencies will function. First and foremost, I've been toying for several years now with an idea of how we can make the country slum free. And now that I'll get an opportunity to represent an area, it'll be a good laboratory, prayogshala ban jayegi mere liye, to see how we can work to make that entire area slum free. And I think one of the ways will be getting more and more people to work in the spirit of cooperatives rather than being dependent always on real estate builders and the big guys to come in and resolve this problem. I've already also talked to a few people to see if they would, who understand this business and this line, to see if they would be willing to do this almost like a CSR or working through it, this problem, and help me resolve this problem on a no profit, no losses basis, as kind of guiding us while we get the local people involved. जिसको एक कुछ कहते हैं ना, तुम्हीच तुझा शिल्पकार आहे. Yeah, something of that sort. So we're trying to get the local people involved to see if we can make themselves responsible to get a better home for their children and their families. Another area that I think in North Mumbai needs to be looked at is the lack of world-class super specialty medical facilities. So one of my colleagues was telling me that on an emergency for his mother, he had to rush her to town to get good quality health care. And I realized that there's not much of that level of health care available in North Mumbai. So that will be another area which I would like to focus on. To my mind, there are a lot of private schools there which are doing a good job, but there are many municipal schools. I do believe I'll be able to pick up the entire municipal school infrastructure there and bring them into with the digital connect and technology into a stage where they also get the same quality of education that a student in an Ivy League school or an IB school or a private school gets. And lastly, I think the one issue which partly is due to significant infrastructure projects going on there, but the issue of traffic. Now clearly with the amount of metros coming up there, with the sewage disposal project, road cement concretization, all of which are good for the country and for the city and will transform India. I've just come for the first time by the coastal road. After its inauguration, this is my first visit today.
I haven't used it yet.
You haven't used it yet. You must. It's a delight. Absolutely delight. So I think as these things get close, and I live right next to the coastal road coming up, right? So I've seen the pain of all the dust and mud of the last few years. But we never objected because you always want something good to happen and you have patience to let that good happen. So Mumbai is going through that phase. Maybe a little more efficient traffic management during this period would help the commuters. That would be something I can easily resolve using OR techniques and technologies with maps available, traffic data crowdsourced. Maybe a drone can be used to see where the traffic needs to be eased. So I have a few ideas which will help us to resolve this problem. And of course on railways I did quite a bit when I was the railway minister. We got the highest sanctions for Mumbai railway system upgradation. Every station with their own toilets, every station got their escalators and lifts. Fact is, electric mobility is the order of the day, especially in cities. BMW, if it starts manufacturing it, will bring its own ecosystem. VinFast is coming in, they'll bring their own ecosystem. So just like semiconductors, this will be another area of huge amount of jobs, and we will become the electric vehicle capital of the. We need everybody. Why Tesla? We need everybody. हम तो सबको welcome करते हैं. The policy is not made for any one company.
So are they being unreasonable by asking for special stuff that we don't want to give them Tesla?
2 years.
Well, it's their choice. If they want to come in, they come in. We have an electric vehicle policy, a very robust policy. उसके अंतर्गत आने को तैयार हैं तो आए. हमें investment commitment चाहिए. We want them to commit investment and commit domestic value addition. Again, see the difference between Congress's thinking and ours. They opened up the sector and allowed Hyundai, Kia and all to come in, who continue to import most of their products from Japan, from Korea, from Taiwan, from China. Now we've put the, let's say, a little more effort
For manufacturing
for them to start sourcing domestically. But in our electric vehicle policy, we are putting in domestic value add upfront as a condition and investment in India. So jab tak we create an ecosystem and massive investments in EVs, it will not proliferate. But I've been an evangelist for electric mobility ever since I was Power and Renewable Energy Minister. And I had said in 2016, in a public function, Overdrive Awards, पता नहीं किसका होता है, I think CNN, IBN का होता है. Their off-the-cuff remark I had made that I'd love to see every vehicle sold in India by 2030 to be an electric vehicle.